In the late 1941, Germany dominated the Atlantic Ocean with its deadly U-boats, which relentlessly attacked merchant ships carrying supplies from the United States to the United Kingdom. These attacks created a severe crisis for Britain, as half of the supplies they desperately needed were being lost at sea. By 1942, the Allies were facing a grim reality. Without control of the Atlantic, bringing American troops into Europe would remain impossible. With food, weapons, and manpower running dangerously low, British leaders even began urging Winston Churchill to consider surrender. The story begins in 1942 on a seemingly calm sailboat with two men, Gus and Anders, who appear to be carefree and drunk. However, their boat is boarded by German naval officers. The German captain grows irritated by their careless behavior and orders the boat to be burned. But chaos erupts when hidden armed men emerge from the ship's lower deck and open fire on the Germans. In the fight, Anders kills the German captain, and the entire boarding team is wiped out. The Germans had come from a nearby destroyer, but Freddy, a diver and explosives expert, had already placed bombs on its hull. As the destroyer begins firing at the sailboat, the explosives detonate, sinking the massive ship. Across the Atlantic, Britain was fighting another battle, trying to stop Germany's U-boats from dominating the seas. The German submarine fleet was being resupplied and repaired on the Spanish-controlled island of Fernando Po, located off the west coast of Africa. A key ship, the Duchessa d'Aosta, along with two tugboats, served as a floating hub for the Nazis' Atlantic operations. The Allies couldn't directly attack this location because Fernando Po was neutral territory. Any attack could provoke Spain or other neutral countries into siding with Hitler. Brigadier Colin Gubbins, with the covert support of Prime Minister Churchill, proposed a daring solution, a secret sabotage mission, codenamed Operation Postmaster. The mission's goal was to destroy the Duchessa and its support boats without exposing British involvement. This off-the-record Black Ops plan meant that if the operatives were caught, they wouldn't have any official protection, only imprisonment or death awaited them. Gubbins recruited a diverse team of experts to carry out the operation. He tasked Gus March Phillips with assembling a ground crew, including Graham Hayes, a skilled sailor, Freddy Alvarez, an explosive specialist, and Anders Lassen, a lethal Danish officer. Meanwhile, SOE agents Marjorie Stewart and Richard Herron were given undercover assignments on Fernando Po. Herron, who already had an illegal gambling business on the island, was tasked with using his local influence to distract and manipulate the Germans. Marjorie, posing as a gold trader, was assigned to seduce Heinrich Luhr, the German officer overseeing the operations on the Duchessa. Their job was to ensure the ship was fully loaded with supplies before the raid. The team set sail on a disguised Swedish fishing boat packed with explosives, slowly making their way down the African coast. Along the way, they received troubling news. An SOE agent, Jeffrey Appleyard, had been captured by the Gestapo on a nearby island. Knowing Appleyard held critical information about the mission, Gus decided to detour for a risky rescue operation. The crew launched a daring assault on the Gestapo camp in broad daylight, eliminating the guards and freeing Appleyard. The successful rescue allowed the team to continue their journey, but time was running out. On Fernando Po, Marjorie and Herron worked to gather intelligence while preparing a grand distraction, two massive parties, one for officers and one for sailors, complete with entertainment to keep the Germans occupied during the planned raid. When Gus and his team finally reached Fernando Po, they faced a new problem. The Duchessa had been reinforced, making it nearly impossible to sink. With this new information, the team decided on an alternative plan: hijack the ships and sail them into Allied hands. Under the cover of night, Gus and Appleyard led a coordinated assault. Anders and his team boarded the Duchessa, fighting off the crew to take control, while Freddy and Gus planted explosives at the harbor's fuel reserves to prevent German pursuit. As chaos erupted, the team used the tugboats to tow the Duchessa out to sea. Meanwhile, Marjorie confronted Luhr, whose suspicions about her cover had grown. In a dramatic turn, she shot him to ensure the mission's success. The Duchessa and the tugboats rendezvoused with a British fleet off the coast of Lagos, but instead of being celebrated, the team was arrested for their unsanctioned actions. While awaiting court-martial, the team was unexpectedly saved by Churchill himself. Recognizing the mission's importance, he offered them a chance to join a secretive new unit, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Their successful sabotage not only weakened Germany's naval operations but also helped pave the way for the United States to join the war in Europe. In an epilogue, the story highlights the team's later achievements. Gus became a decorated war hero and married Marjorie, who began a career in acting. Appleyard earned multiple commendations, Hayes survived brutal torture as a spy, and Lassen continued fighting until his death in 1945.